It's another lovely day, and the show is Conversation. My name is Elizabeth Abai. Now, we are seated and ready to trash out something that is very important to all of us. We're going to be rocking a lot of Nigerians' taboo, yes, because if you are a Nigerian citizen or not, you must ensure that you make this country work. What am I talking about? Recently, some people in governance have celebrated 100 days in office. Recently, we actually ushered them in. People have been appointed as well as the elected. All of them are settling down to do a good job of making this country what we deserve and desire. But then, a lot of times when we talk about work, be it in our homes, we always expect the house person is doing it, the mother is doing it, the father is out there playing tennis, the children are also playing. It is a group thing, it is a teamwork. What is our own participation in governance? That's our focus today. Citizens' participation in governance. It is no longer the period of bring and bring 'em. It is give 'em we're talking about. My name again is Elizabeth, and I have a team in the house. Hajia, you know I'm changing your name, Funky Hajia. No longer Coach. Because there is something happening I don't understand, but all the same.
My name is Mayimuna Umi Abdullah, aka Coach Didi, and good morning.
Morning. And barrister?
Thank you. I am Ike Utazi. I am a lawyer.
All right, I'm sure they're wondering where are the rest of the house. They are walking in gradually. And I know someone is walking in Devon.
I'm not walking in gradually, I'm walking in majestically.
Oh, majestically,
I'm
yes.
walking in majestically.
You're actually looking
I'm
majestic.
sorry, I'm late.
Are you late?
I came majestically late. I'm so sorry.
All right, I'll let you take a breather and go to find out what our wedding team package for us. And they titled it, Vox Pop from the citizens. What is it all about? Let's find out when we talk.
Well, we have a new government in place, which has its own agenda of transformation of this country. It requires a lot of things to be done, and we're hoping that it will be able to move in the areas of the economy, agriculture, of course, and security, improvement of security for the country. That's what we're expecting, and we hope for the best. And whatever we need to do, we'll do to support the government.
Okay, so my expectation from the government as a citizen is that the government keeps us safe and protects us from all harm, like in context banditry, which is disturbing the people of the north. And I also expect that the government makes available job opportunities for young people like me coming into the society. I would expect that the Nigerian government, through different ways, should be able to make provisions for the graduates to have jobs in order to stop most youths from going into a life of crime.
My expectation for them is to make life more easier and more affordable, most especially for the poor. And basically, we need just the basic amenities that one should have to live a better life.
I expect the Nigerian government to encourage youth in terms of passing laws that help with innovation, such as tech laws and things relating to bitcoins and things like that, because the youth of today are really innovative and tech is the way forward.
They should fight this insecurity issue in the country. Because it's affecting a lot of things in the country. It's affecting the economy. We the citizens, we fear for our safety. And also farmers can no longer go to their farms anymore, because when they're on their farms, they get kidnapped, they get killed. And this also has affected the price of food items in the markets today.
My expectations of the newly elected government are basic and logical. As a youth, I would really love and appreciate the provision of more jobs, because there is a high rate of unemployment. And then for the people that are actually employed, inflation is skyrocketing, prices are high. So their salaries should match the prices of things, and not just to match the prices, they should also be paid on time.
If the innovation is encouraged, surely there will be development. And so the youth will use this knowledge and this newly encouraged venture to move the country forward.
I abide by the rules and regulations to ensure that in my own way, in my own capacity, as a citizen, I'm also effecting change. I'm not corrupt in my own capacity.
Tech is one of the biggest markets in Nigeria, and as a youth, that's one of the ways you can empower yourself. You don't always have to depend on the Nigerian government to make jobs. You can try to learn a skill. If tech is not your skill, you can try to learn other skills like cooking, tailoring. These are skills that are very helpful in the day-to-day life of Nigerians.
I'm going to contribute my intellect to the government, what I know and how it can be implemented into the system. Then secondly, I'll be a law-abiding citizen of the country, and I'll also take care of the environment by planting trees.
And on my own part, as a youth helping the government, there is the solemn promise to obey and do all my civil duties, obey traffic laws, desist from violence, pay taxes, and all of that.
Government provide laws, and these laws are meant to be kept. For instance, the breaking of traffic light, throwing of dirt everywhere, doing things that are not supposed to be in the society. For me, if for instance I have my own particular society that I'm living, I try to do my best. For instance, we do vigilante in the night. Instead of us sleeping, we make sure this is supposed to be done by the agents of the government, but we are putting our hands together to do them.
Leadership must be supported by the people at large, and that's what everybody needs to do, really. If we are strong, if we keep the government on its toes, the government is bound to perform much better than they have done this last decade or thereabout. I think that's what we all need to do. We all have a role to play. Every citizen, every Nigerian, wherever they may come from, whoever they may be, must understand that indeed it is their government, really, and that the government is there to do their bidding, and they must support government.
All right, the show is conversation, and you had that long bit, people expressing their desire from government and as well as what they intend to contribute. That's what I say. In local terms, we all believe that the hands are not designed naturally to be two for no reason. It simply means one has to wash the other. We don't sit down below and expect that people who are very tall bend down, pick up stuff for us. They may just have waist pain. That's the way I look at it. So we do the ones on the ground and they do the ones on the top. But speaking about that, we also have someone who is at the moment elected, and he's seated here with us. Our tradition is for him to introduce himself, so I'll let you do that. Honorable?
My name is Philip Agbese. I represent the good people of Ado Ogbadibu Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, and the deputy spokesperson for the 10th House of Representatives.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. And very importantly, he's representing both the politically elected and the youth, as long as I'm concerned, given his background. So he will do a lot of justice for us. But Barrister, I was listening to what they said, and I must say thank you to the retired diplomat who spoke last. That's Onobu, Mr. Onobu retired. He gave us a lot of insights as a diplomat he is. I understand that governance is supposed to be, in such a way that they provide almost everything for the citizens. Now, a lot has been asked from the citizens to be given to them by government. From your perspective as a barrister, what are the things we should expect from governance?
Yes, thank you. I listened to the views of people talking there. How did we even come about this thing called government? You remember the social contract theory, where human beings, in order to have an organized government, surrender their rights to the state. That's why you now have a government. We have our individual rights. We say, okay, for purposes of living in peace and harmony, let there be a state, a government that should govern us. So we have surrendered those our rights to the government. Then, having surrendered, then the next one is that we will now submit to the authority of those people we have entrusted these our rights to. So that's the social contract theory. And if you look at sections 13 down to section 24 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it encapsulates this social contract theory. From
I notice she's laughing. Each time people
I
quote,
smile anytime I hear section this or section that of the Constitution as amended. I just feel nice.
So
I'm sorry. I used to be a lawyer in a past life. Fire on.
So you look at sections 13 down to 24. In fact, if you look at the whole of chapter 2 of the Constitution, I'm happy a legislator is here. The title is Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principles of State Policy. In other words, this is the way to go. And now, the first set of provisions are the duties and responsibilities of government to the citizens. Then it goes to the last one, section 24. You now see the duties of the citizens. While I was reviewing these things, I always like to reason from my own philosophical and religious standpoint. In the Bible, I think in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 to 25, it says, wives, submit to your husbands. When he finished telling the wives what to do, he then went to the other. He said, husbands, love your wives.
so the government.
So what we do is that they place the duties of the government first, so that the submission of the citizens will be natural.
Yes.
So I think that is the disconnect. Yes, the citizens have to obey, but somebody has to kickstart the process.
Okay,
So,
it's important, and one of the somebody's is seated here with us. I don't know, Honorable. I want you to speak on what he said, but I want you to also drag it in to let us understand that there are a lot of things we expect. For instance, I've heard somebody said this person was in the Senate for donkey years and never built a road. I don't know what senators are supposed to do. I don't know what honorable members are supposed to do. But do you think that your 10th assembly, you're ready and willing to do what is right for the citizens? Give us what we desire. And what are those things really we expect from you?
Okay, in the 10th Assembly, first, Mr. Speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas has christened his legislative blueprint for the Assembly and christened the House as the People's Parliament. People's Parliament in the sense that we want to engage the Nigerian people. What Barrister said earlier is very, very correct. I want to agree with that. Like I've always argued that the problem with our country is not the absence of laws. It is our inability to keep these laws and our inability to allow these laws to govern us the way that they have been written. One other thing that has been missing is the disconnect between the elected representatives and the electorate. So what we intend to achieve through the open parliament is to deepen conversations between the Nigerian people. Like the House of Representatives is closer to the people than any other organ of government because we relate directly with the people. So when one of the somebodies said a senator has not built any road and he has been there for many years, democracy permits for periodic review of those who have been elected, and that is why citizens have retained the right, to periodically change those who have failed to perform. And what we want to achieve in the 10th Assembly is a situation where we have articulated certain areas that all of us as a house we must focus on, And one of those things is the issue of security of lives and property.
Okay. No, without meaning to cut you short, I'm still going to get back to you because I need to know specifics for real. Because I may have been as long as I've been here, but I'm not even sure if I understand what I'm supposed to get from the legislative or what I'm supposed to get from the judiciary. We'll get to the point where you will all split it for me. But I'm wondering now, we all have our expectations. Let me start with Devon. 3 of us here are housewives, and a lot of times we scream. What do we want from government?
Well, I think government should strive to fulfill its mandate. And one of the most critical responsibilities, and which I think has become a sore point for about a decade now in Nigeria, is that of security.
Is it no more than a decade?
Approximately.
Okay.
I guess. So security, the issue of security, insecurity, lack of security, and all of this has presented itself as a recurring decimal through successive administrations, successive governments. You begin to wonder, it's not even about which party is in power. It has become a pervasive, and I don't even know the right word to use, but it's just here. It seems to not really be going anywhere at all. The efforts being made by government just gets the situation to morph from one way of presenting itself to another, such that maybe the massive bombings that we got accustomed to during one specific administration now morphed into something else with the next administration, because these people were destabilized and now formed themselves into small cells across the country. Bottom line, something desperate needs to happen in the security sector.
Okay.
That goes without saying.
All right. No, without meaning to cut you short. Okay, infrastructure. You're going to pick up from there.
Yes.
My director is urging me to take a break. Director, I don't know why you want to take a break, but if you're ready, I am ready. Okay.
Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Nigeria is a country of many cultures, languages, and beliefs. But despite our differences, there is one thing that unites us all: our love for this great nation. Sometimes we may feel that we need to go fast and go alone to achieve our goals. But when we come together and work as a team, we can go far beyond what we ever thought was possible. United, we can create thriving businesses that benefit our communities and in turn, our nation. It is said that when you want to go fast, go alone. When you want to go far, go in a group. Let's understand our differences and come together to build a better Nigeria. When we work together, there is nothing we can't achieve. Nigeria, better together.
Okay, it's still conversations, and we are looking at the citizens' participation in governance, your own responsibility. But before then, we decided to find out the role of the elected, appointed, all the leaders in governance towards the citizens. And we're already talking about a security from Devon, and she wanted to delve into infrastructure. Okay.
Yeah. I think infrastructure is another critical area where government must come in. Infrastructure, amenities. So when we talk about infrastructure, of course, we're referring to roads, the highways, the link roads, and all of this. We're talking about the provision of water, health, education, and things like that. Of course, the citizens also have a role to play. If government has established these things, if I know, for instance, that in Abuja right now, there's this pandemic of manhole covers going missing.
It's horrible.
Government has played its part, and then you have people going around removing these covers, and they're very heavy and usually stuck very firmly into the concrete. So I don't even know how they succeed. But they dislodge these things, take them away, and then an innocent person who passed the road yesterday and everything was okay comes driving by and his car falls into that thing.
Or really a little child falling.
Luckily, I haven't heard of any of such yet. Then the rail lines that have been put in place, we have Nigerians that are going around and ripping them off. You know, they're literally taking them off and selling them as what? Scrap metal? Yeah. For how much?
In some areas, they said to the Chinese, who in turn will use it to do business with the Nigerian government.
So now, when you hear that it's so retrogressive, government has played its part. Look how long we were without a rail system. At a point in Nigeria, it collapsed completely. You know, successive efforts since 1999 kept failing and failing and failing until, I must admit, the Buhari administration managed to get that thing up and running. And then the same Nigerians that say they want these things now go around, you know, pulling them up for whatever nefarious reason. Now, leave out the part of pulling them off to sell. Imagine that problem is not noticed and a train, you know, just comes barreling through. Look at the number of lives that will be lost in that kind of accident. And the train system is meant to be one of the safest forms of transportation. But because 2 or 3 of those things have been removed by one person who thinks he can go and sell them somewhere for 20,000, you know, to have the next meal. And the reason why some of these things persist, I have to say, is because I don't think our justice system is as vibrant as it should be. It's not as robust as it should be. The typical Nigerian knows that they can do rubbish and get away with it. There's no consequence. Nothing really happens.
Sitting right beside you.
He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. He's not.
The typical Nigerian gets punished.
Sorry?
The typical Nigerian gets punished.
It's
the big one that doesn't get
punished.
punished.
Even the typical Nigerian, many of them get away with it. That's why lynchings are so common. Because even if you're picked up by the police, I'm very sorry to say this, it's become a pattern that this person was picked up by the police for this and this, but that thing just suddenly went quiet. And you'll find that it's just an everyday citizen. But his people knew how to go and do one thing or the other, and it's wrong.
Exactly. You know, beyond that, as a housewife, there are things that really worry me. You're going even too far. I need to cook food and make sure that my food is well refrigerated. I need to be able to go to the village market, buy vegetables that I know they're organic, you know, wrap them up in my papers and put in the fridge and ensure that it stays up to 3 or 4 days before the next market day. But today, it's no longer the same. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I think the truth is we're actually used to it now.
You're used to it?
Yeah, used to.
Don't get used to suffering.
Sadly.
But it's not about it. Let's be realistic. When you find yourself in a certain situation, you are supposed to learn coping mechanisms to manage it. Yes, it's not ideal, but if you find yourself in a situation whereby, for many people I know who have very terrible power supply, they now fry their stew for much longer so it can keep with that light. They buy perishables daily. You just have to learn to cope.
And when you find like that, you actually lose. I see you sighing.
Yes, you know, this discussion actually goes far, far beyond what you see manifests on the streets. I read a very robust article the other day. The person posed a question. Are Nigerians really that bad? If they are, why is it that they travel out and they obey the laws of those countries, they are compliant. They do everything in line with what the law there says. And once they step into the country, say it starts from the airport. Don't you know me?
You know who I am.
They can't submit to anything. It's a very big question. Go back to what Professor Chinua Achebe said in his book, The Trouble with Nigeria. He says squarely leadership. That is actually what is giving rise to all these small children of this one. If there is strong, exemplary leadership, you will see these things dying off naturally. The person won't. There was a time one governor in one state had to clean up the city, and people don't even feel like throwing refuse. I think it was Cross River, Donald Duke. It's leadership, so you won't feel like doing it again.
Exactly.
You won't feel like, so it's not. That's why I say submission becomes natural. So we say it from now to tomorrow. That's my own take. I have seen it. I have been in the public service. I have seen it. It's all about leadership.
And may I add that I don't think it's just fair leadership, honestly, because we seem to throw the bulk at the leaders all the time. The leaders are the people as well. So I think it's both ways. It's both leadership and followership. Yes, the leader does have that responsibility, but we also have a responsibility as well. The leader alone can't make it work. He needs the people to make it work.
True.
And that's why we need to take responsibility. It's always so easy to blame leadership, to blame government, but we do not take responsibility for our part. Governance is, yes, by the people, isn't it? Who are the people? We are the people.
Exactly.
So I think it's also about us also taking responsibility for our part. We talk about insecurity, for example. Who are the people who do these things? They're human beings. They belong to families. So for me, I still believe that the buck is still on our table as parents, as uncles, as relatives. How do you take care of the people around you? What example are you showing to the people around you? Let me give an example about ethnicity now. How do you treat other people? How do you refer to other people in this country? Them, they are this. Your children listen to you. They hear what you say. They go to school and they will depict the same attitude. So it's still us. We want a better country. Let's do it. Let's show it so that our kids can emulate from us, and then Nigeria can be better. Of course, it wouldn't happen in one day, but we should mirror what we want for Nigeria.
All right. Now, I want the honorable to speak on citizens' education, because it is one thing for me. I notice a situation, that often happens when somebody wins an election. You notice his inner circle's friends, his family, they are always celebrating. And I begin to wonder, there's a big celebration. It should go beyond the people, because from their mindset, it's our turn. It's our son, it's our daughter. So it's our own. Meaning that there is something they're doing that they expect that is not ordinary. Now, it behoves on the elected, the appointed, I think, to hold governance kind of education, citizens' education to the people, to understand that me being here does not mean I am going to help you personally. I am here to help the entire community. Are we having such education?
Well, I think in this aspect, I'll speak for myself. When I came on board, I was inaugurated on June 13th. That very day, we had a reception. And my leaders came together. We celebrated, of course, what God has done for the federal constituency, not what God has done for me as an individual.
All right, hold your thoughts there 1 minute. I'll take a break now. Be right back. Don't go away. All right, the honorable was trying to explain to us why people celebrate, and of course, tailor it towards the governance.
Yes, so we cannot completely detach that from our culture. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it has to do with individuals. These days, people send you messages on Mondays, to celebrate a new week with you. And in less than 6 days again, they send you another message to celebrate another one with you. Okay, let's take September, for example. September has never been a good month anywhere in the world, because it is the period of time that children return back to school, and people send all these text messages to tell you that this is a big September, a September to remember. And they say all manner of good things, but those things don't take away the realities. If your children are not going to school in September, your brother's children are going to school. They're also changing classes, so they'll change uniforms. They're going to be paying for new books and all manner of expenditures that we have. Yet, people have learned to take these things for granted. So, for me, I try to play down on some of these celebrations. It is my philosophy,
Sure.
that even if you invite me for children's birthday as an adult, people have had to invite me for their kids' birthday, 1 year old or 2 year old.
As old as you are now.
Yes, and
Wow.
I just take the invitation, but I don't attend. I believe that with time, when I turn down 3, 4, 5, some families will get used to it, that this is a serious-minded individual. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that our leaders, we must get very seriously, with the duties that have been entrusted to us, So because sometimes these people also don't know. Before I got into the National Assembly, we all had this impression that it's a place where, they share money. But since I got into the National Assembly, I've not seen any currency note anywhere close to the National Assembly. So it is the mindset, it's the people's mindset. It is our duty, to educate them that this thing is not completely the way you see it from outside. Sometimes lawmakers are even finding it difficult, to afford fuel. And okay, in my office, I've made it an open policy. My doors are open. Whatever thing you need that is intellectually based, I am ready and available to do. But
When you say intellectually based, what does that mean?
Yeah, you want me to help you with recommendation letters. You are a student, you are doing your project. I'm multi-talented, and you need my support in terms of how do I go about this, or you want me to take you to an agency of government where you can assist access information and stuff like that. But when people send messages to me, they want their children to go to school, they need £2,000 and all of this. I tell
In pounds, not even naira.
Yes, I've received.
Oh, wow.
I've received requests in pounds, in
Did you
dollars,
hear
and
that?
all of that. But I take my time to explain to them. I say, this is what I get as a legislator. If you want me to do this work, if I take this for you, this has to be left behind for myself and others, so
Mhm.
that I'll be able to do these things. And like they have seen, within the last 3 months of resumption, I've sponsored 11 bills that have passed through first reading, and these are bills that are very, very critical and important. So instead of going home,
You want us to know the bills? We would like to know.
Yes, one is the first bill is for the construction, for the establishment of a school in one of the communities in my federal constituency. The second one is for the upgrade of a federal health facility that is already existing, to be upgraded into a tertiary health institution. Another one has to do with a non-oil mineral resources development commission, because we have minerals scattered across the country. The federal government will issue mining licenses to companies who go there to take these mineral resources. At the end of the day, they leave these communities naked. A good example is Plateau State. Since the exploration of tin and other mineral resources in Plateau State, you cannot go to Plateau State and point at anything that these companies have done for the state as corporate social responsibility. The same thing is happening in Obajana, where a SETI company is taking these resources and nothing is being done for the people. So that bill, is to address these issues. So just like the Niger Delta Development Commission and the Northeast Development Commission, you take from these companies directly. We have a government agency that is set up to take just a part from the company, not leaving the people at the mercy of these companies, but you take it, you bring to the commission. The commission will in turn go back to the community to say, what do you need? You now build schools for them, hospitals, and all of that. Go to Boko, one of the communities in my state, even though not my immediate federal constituency, but that is where all the cement that was used to build Abuja was taken from. And today, go to that place, it's a sorry state. The people, there are no schools in Boko.
All the cement.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, go to Boko, there are no schools in Boko, no potable water for the people to drink. And you now ask yourself, for what purpose did God bless this community with these resources that He gave to them? Is it to further impoverish the community, or to help the community? And if it is to help the community, I think it is high time, government sees the need for us to have this kind of commission.
Okay, just before I let you take a breather, you're actually speaking for these communities, I want to believe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it
Thank
is.
you.
Yes, the bill is targeted, the commission, when it comes into force. It's not just for these communities around us. Go to Zamfara today. People are taking gold from the communities. Now, people who have been blessed with that kind of raw material, right, are they not supposed to be like people in Dubai? Build good schools for them so that they will be grateful to God that in the first instance He deposited, that kind of mineral resources in that community. I cannot have, these blessings and you are still poor. So something is wrong somewhere.
Okay. All right. So just for doing that, I think I'll offer you some cookies here. You can eat this. Thank you very much for sponsoring those bills. Why are you laughing? When you do well, you offer you something. That's how we behave.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Now moving it back to the attorney, Devan did make certain comment about the judiciary. What is the hope of that system?
The justice system as
the
a whole,
justice
not just
system,
the judiciary.
Generally in Nigeria, because there's a lot of jungle justice going on, and there's a whole lot of an inability to even approach justice, and it is a citizen's right. What do we do? I can't take anybody to court because I'm scared of what I'll be asked to pay. How do we write in it?
Well, like I used to say, when I look at issues, I look at them from a broader perspective. Sometime here I said you can't clap with one hand.
Definitely.
So when you single out the justice sector for whatever, I will be wondering whether the justice sector exists in isolation of other sectors. Now, remember too that if you look at those provisions of the Constitution that I mentioned, the issue of social justice is more paramount. So when you look at the justice sector, these foods or whatever these people digest in the judiciary, they are cooked by some other people. And you know that you do justice according to law. That is why the layman will be watching. He say, this thief, everybody knows in the village, they say he is not guilty. He cannot understand. So that is that as per justice. So justice is done according to law. So those who cook the food, before they bring it there, they should make sure the food is in such a manner that it could be eaten and digested by the judiciary. So there are a lot of things. And I am very happy. You see, when you see somebody with the zeal to work, it's not that the Honorable is here. I've never met him. Only that he mentioned Abuja, and my mind went to the Dan Abuja. Everybody of my age should know. I don't know whether you were younger then. Sorry. So you can see the zeal in him. I'm sorry. We will do an audit. After 12 months or 24 months, that zeal might go. I will take your number. I'll ask you. Because he will meet so many hurdles here and there. Some people will even call and say, which one is your own self?
You too do. You too do, but
Exactly.
Anyway,
you see
Honorable,
people with
people say to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So when you're getting such talks, don't get deterred. Just go
so that is the thing. So we need those at the driver's seat. Like Didi said, leadership is at different levels. Either in the home, in the school, at the political level. So at any point you find yourself, you are a leader in one way or the other.
Exactly.
So that is what she is actually saying. At the point you can provide leadership, do an ordinary good morning, how are you? You are providing leadership. They say, this man, the way everybody will start doing it. But when you segregate, these ones don't enter their house, this one there, they will grow up with it. So it's all about leadership. Like these people taking these things, they sell to somebody who is very responsible, in quotes. Go to those markets, you see them, they are very big people. If they steal it and they can't sell it to somebody, they will not go back tomorrow.
Sure.
It's a network. So this is why I said, if you look at it, somebody cannot commit any crime. I was a police officer. You can't commit a crime without leaving a trace.
Did you say you were a police officer?
You don't look like a police officer.
You were a police officer?
Yes.
You look like a lawyer, but you don't look like a police officer.
So what am I saying? Every thief leaves a trace and you can't clap with it. Somebody must be somewhere. If you watch this morning, they were stripping a lady naked. I didn't like it. Maybe one day people should deal with jungle justice. They said she was tipping off robbers. But if you look at her, you won't associate her with such behavior. So these are the things we should be addressing. Like you said, the National Orientation Agency, we need to be talking about it daily. Billboards, put billboards, show the negative sides of those things they are doing. Cultism, stealing this. We are not talking about them enough. That is why the evil is drowning us. We are not talking enough. It doesn't even require too much guns.
There are no consequences.
Speak against them.
And those who are caught should be tried and punished.
Sure.
When people are not punished for crime, because I think that's what's right in this. People get away with things.
We are on national television. I don't want to go too far.
Yes. Let me just add. We in the parliament are doing something very, very important this time. You see, oversight of government agencies is a very, very important aspect of the kind of lawmaking body that we have. It's part of our duties. So, if, for instance, the police, are not, you don't carry out the necessary oversight, even the failure of security in the past, it is not because the armed forces were not really working. But people also needed to give this guidance. For instance, if something is going wrong in my community, and I'm being informed, because probably the DPO in that locality is not doing the right thing, you can actually report it to members of parliament who will take it up at the highest level.
Oh, wow.
Because yes, the person at that low level cannot reach the top hierarchy of the police.
But we don't have your access. We don't have access to you. How do we access?
Yes, that is why the 10th Assembly's House of Representatives, the Open Parliament Initiative, we have introduced what we call the town hall meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, the town hall meetings will be starting from January, where lawmakers, for instance, from Borno State, will be mixed up with lawmakers from another state and sent to Lagos to interact with people in a town hall meeting. For instance, if I want to go to my constituency to organize a town hall meeting today, my political leaders, everybody will come, and speeches will only be made by people who are my friends. So they come to say the good things that I may want to hear, and after 2-3 hours, you make some disbursement for transport money and eat and celebrate, and they go. But in the wisdom of the current speaker, right, Tajuddin Abbas, these town hall meetings will provide an opportunity for the lawmakers to get direct feedback from the Nigerian people. So you have like 10 lawmakers, sent from various committees to Lagos, not oversighting directly agencies where you interact with the heads of those agencies, and before you arrive, a note is prepared, somebody reads out that note. No, interacting directly with the people. So for instance, this issue of railway that Deva has mentioned, the committee on land transport, of course, we'll be interested to know what exactly has happened to this rail infrastructure. What have we done concerning, even government expenditures in the last 4-5 years. And that's why in the House of Representatives today, you've seen a lot of oversight functions in terms of investigations, the one on job racketeering and all manner of, funds that have been stolen by various, persons and individuals, in the last few years. So by investigating and going into some of these issues. Okay, today, the Navy, recently we invited them for an investigation on oil theft. And when the people came, guess who was indicted? Or what the revelations we got? The security guys, the private security people providing technical expertise in the oil region. They made revelations before the House that even the people who contracted them were gave them phone numbers to alert them when oil theft is being carried out in the Niger Delta region. And none of the security agencies' telephone number was given to the owners of this technology. But we end up indicting the security agencies for not doing their work. So even reporting crime, to the wrong person. I asked the man during the meeting, if your house, if a thief is visiting your house, do you call your landlord or you call the police? So if they are taking oil in the Niger Delta and you have been given you have the technology to detect this oil theft, is it NNPC that you are supposed to to message, or to message the Navy or the police or the civil defense, those who are there to man the dissent. And he said that the NNPC directed him to inform them. They will in turn inform the security agencies. So the National Assembly, particularly the House of Rep, we have a lot to do. We understand these responsibilities, and as a matter of fact, we are going to do our best
to ensure that it's done. People are writing in, and even though we haven't been able to put the number on the screen, but some people seem to know the number already. Somebody said, yes, citizens should do the right thing. We come late to work, yet we complain. We use government's, I think government property wrongly, yet we complain. Is it government that's supposed to fix all of that? I guess it's talking about citizens' rights and citizens' responsibility, to governance. And for me, it's very critical because, before we started, we were talking about, people complaining about government a lot of times, and our own bits, we don't really get to do it right. For instance, this person says, we come late to work. And at the end of the day, I don't know what the complaint means, but I want to translate it in my own style. If you're not given the little thing you want, by government, we complain. It's unfortunate that a lot of government agencies don't have clocking in and clock out, biometrics and all of that to check, attendance of people. I don't know why, but I know that in public sectors, a lot of them have it. Because I want to believe that if we begin to check in and check out properly, you'll find out that the 40 hours we're supposed to put in a week, a lot of us don't do it. I'm not saying that some people don't, but most of us, especially in the ministries, don't get together done. How do we begin to, conscientize ourselves to do the right thing? I was walking, actually driving on a particular road in Abuja, and the road was very nice. It was clean. We got to a traffic light. We stopped. Somebody was in front of me. So, and right as the traffic light, turned green to move, the person at the back seat of our car dumped something on the road. Very clean road. And I had my daughter in the car. She just shouted, wow. I said, did you see that? I tried to catch up with those people, and I remember the syndrome of, do you know who I is? Do you know who I? I had to stay back because I wanted to stop, run up to catch up with the person. But then the same scenario, I went into National Hospital for a reason 2 weeks ago. A man was walking along the pathway. It was a good one. And then suddenly he stopped and flipped his flyers to, do the needful, nature call, urinate. And instinctively, I started honking. Seriously. And he stopped. I said, come. He came. When he started coming, I got scared, because I didn't even realize why I had to stop him. I don't work there. I was a visitor. I came to do something. So he came up and I said to him, why do you want to urinate here? Look at the several buildings within this hospital. All of them have toilets. Why don't you go in there and use one? If you do this, you're going to cause problem. Besides, I'm a lady. You're making me look at what I don't want to look at. Do you understand? And very, very unusual with Nigerians. He looked at me and said, Madam, sorry. And he went away. I went to do. The person I had in car said, mobile police. I said I was actually scared when the man started coming because I had done it before I realized what I was going to do. So what I'm trying to say is that there are small things we should get ourselves acquainted with as part of your responsibility. You're dumping garbage in a gutter and you're blaming government for not catering it away. If you go to some other places, like he said, you don't dump the same thing. You come to
you sort it out.
You sort it out. You sort it out when you just traveled. And was it that way when you went you were in London?
Yeah.
Okay, they
I had
took
to sort
care
out the
of.
garbage. I had to bring plastics separate, wasted food separate, like that. And honestly, just like when you see this is how it's done, and you get punished for it, you might do it.
Okay, so I don't know. A lot of people are still writing, but I'm not sure we'll be able to do all of that now. Let's still go around and find out from Devon how citizens should relate when it comes to government. I've tried to cite some. What should we do to ensure that this government, play up to the responsibilities they are supposed to do?
How we can hold
Help
governments
governments.
accountable.
Yes.
Whoa, that's a tough one.
Sorry.
Because Nigeria is one of those countries where, like, it's not an easy task to say you want to take on anybody in government. I hate to admit it, but chances are very good that you'll be fighting a losing battle. So I would say that luckily we're in a democracy. If you feel that this governor has done so badly, well, do what you can to make sure that you don't vote him back in. Give him his 4 years and let him
the
go.
recall process, must he do the 4
No,
years?
recall, that thing, the way it's crafted, it's practically impossible. It's crafted to fail. So let's leave that one alone. But just make sure that in the next 4 years, you do everything you can to frustrate his efforts to stay for 8 years.
Sure.
It's just that even that thing is not that black and white. There's so many nuances that go into it. There are many, like in my state, for instance, because of all this zoning business and so on, the people are very happy to leave somebody in office they don't like very much, because they'll say, let him use up the time meant for his people, so that once that is done, we can close that door and move to this other part of the state. Because after that, if we don't let him finish his 8 years, another person will come from his place, do 4 years, and that one will now want to do 8 years. Then cumulatively, that side will have 12 years. You understand? So even when it looks as if things aren't moving and the people are not using their mandates, there's so many other nuances and other thoughts that go into it before they take certain actions. So it's a very tough question. It's not something that can be answered.
My director is on my neck that we're timing up now. But then, just one sentence or two, Attorney, your words to the citizens.
Thank you. The citizens, I will say it over and over again. The citizens are ever ready to cooperate with the government. But the government, like I said, have to take the lead so that submission will be natural.
Okay, submission will be natural. All right.
Don't just ask what Nigeria can do for you. Ask what you can do for Nigeria as well.
Okay. And Honorable, your parting words?
Yes, ours in the parliament is to continue to seek for the cooperation and partnership of the Nigerian people. If they do that, we can assure them that we'll deliver on all our campaign promises to them.
All right, our time is up. Let's see if we can take one or two messages before I say bye-bye. Government agencies should do more of advocacy in the communities for sensitization and awareness. We have neighbors still burning refuse in residential area. Wow, that's a harsh one. There's so many messages. I'm watching from Ajakuta. Everyone in Nigeria needs to put their hands on deck to make Nigeria better. We need to kill the tribal issues in our sector. Religion issues need to be eliminated. We also need to take responsibility for our actions. I'll just take two more. There are so many of them coming at the same time now. Okay, what's this one now? It says, good morning. Please, I want to ask will this fuel ever come down? People are suffering. Okay, I'll answer you off record, off camera. Good morning, Nigerians. Greetings to personalities in the studio. My question: in governance, both elected and the electorate have roles to play. What happens to the constituency allocation given to the elect? We don't see any possible show of it. Tony Onija Wilberforce from Otugbo. Okay, and this is writing. Tony, we don't have time now, but I'll try to get the answer from the Honorable and return to you. Directly. Unfortunately, maybe in our repeat broadcast, it will be there. And that's it from here. My time is packed and up. I'll see you again next week with another very lovely team. And I'll just advise you, whatever you do, we don't have another Nigeria. We don't have another Nigeria. We don't have another country. Let's make this one work. Bye.